All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as you may or may not be aware, because the actual releases occur over the course of months, we've been talking about Record of Ragnarok on this channel for about 6 months now, roughly a year.
Yeah, anywhere between that.
And recently, it actually did receive a Netflix adaptation for an anime, which did spark quite a bit of controversy. Well, I won't say controversy. It just got like a mixed reception across the board.
I think people blew shit way out of proportion.
Oh no, that 3D Hermes was terrible, Kyle.
Okay, look, that's that. Okay, I can't defend that.
So, if you're unfamiliar with Record of Ragnarok, which if you're unfamiliar, not sure why you're watching this review, or like I guess thoughts, but it's a battle anime involving humans and gods. The manga became popular last year. I think it started becoming popular and got Netflix. I guess just jumped on that, gave them a big anime adaptation. It is a 2D style anime, so it is hand drawn, and that's where I guess the problems come from for most people because most people don't like the actual animations being done.
Which confused the hell out of me because none of it looked bad, aside from um, the moving JPEGs in Adam vs. Zeus.
That's kind of thing that definitely caught me
Aside
off.
from that and Hermes, everything else was fine.
But you wait till and the fucking 3D Hermes.
Everything else was fine.
I will say the anime does look pretty good all across the board. I do think that they did make some very questionable decisions because they have a lot of slideshow moments that I don't understand why they made slideshows. Like, the whole point of the animation is to animate the fight. Why are you slides? Why are you just bringing direct manga panels? No, don't get me wrong. Like the manga panel, like the panels still look good, but it doesn't really work well when you put that with fucking the anime. Because even when the panels should be animated, because like during the Zeus and Adam fight in particular, you see the panels swapping as the characters are moving like around and fighting, or like when you see reactions in the characters' panels. But the panels are still frozen. They're not throwing punches in the panel. Why didn't they just animate some fist moving in the panel?
It's called saving money. It's an animation tactic that happens in a lot of shows.
Dude, come on. It's backed by Netflix. This is absurd.
Animation costs a lot.
Kyle, please. They already cut so much. What are you talking about? They cut out so many details.
Not really.
Oh, I did actually look up the studio. The studio that made it is the same one that made Hellsing Ultimate.
Interesting.
Or, to be more accurate, the first 3 episodes of Hellsing Ultimate. And the three
Okay.
episodes of the prequel, if you have not seen the Hellsing prequel.
The Helsing prequel, as in
The one where
where
Walter and Alucard go to fight the Nazis in World War II, yeah.
ah
So that actually caught me off guard. So if you're not a fan of Record of Ragnarok, obviously the anime's not going to change your mind. But in regards, so animation all across the board, generally fine. I was actually worried with the way they designed some characters based off the trailers, but the anime does make them a lot better. Like, I guess they just chose like super weird angles for their promotional material, which is great. Like, yeah, the anime looks a lot better. I'm just very surprised on fucking why.
yeah, that's a weird little thing that they did.
Because like I don't know if I mentioned this on the channel, but like Bruhilda, right?
Dig your own grave.
Motherfucker. The main Valkyrie chick, she looked terrible in the trailers, but in the actual anime with a lot more like sort of like images to go off of and a lot more different angles to work with, like she actually doesn't look fucking terrible. The actual characters like drawings are all across the board pretty stellar. No character looked inherently wrong or off from the manga. I will say, except for maybe like Odin. Odin just looks weird. like
I
Odin.
didn't. I didn't mind it, but Odin has a weird design anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but Odin kind of looks weird in the manga too. Um, from what I remember specifically, and from what Kyle said, or at least from what Kyle's been saying since he went back to reread the manga specifically, it's pretty a faithful adaptation. It's almost 1-to-1 with the manga. Which
Besides from like extra panels from the peanut gallery, it's practically like on point.
So it is a faithful adaptation. The music is pretty good all across the board. The sound design and the voice actors, even the English dub. That's actually where me and Kyle watched. I don't know if I'll go through sub specifically, but the English dub's pretty good all across the board. The music's great. The sound design, fantastic. Uh, Really, it's just the actual animation of the fights that people have the biggest problem with, and it's mainly Adam versus Zeus. But it's not just the still images, because I don't know if you've seen this, Kyle, but people complain about just like the jabs in general and stuff when they do that.
Nah, they can fuck off. I've seen so many animes do the exact same thing and not get anywhere and get no shit for it. No, what this is people being overly spoiled with animation. Let's not lie to ourselves. It's literally people whinging that it doesn't look like it doesn't have the flair or the look to something like, let's say, Demon Slayer. Something that looks absolutely gorgeous but has no substance.
Damn, Kyle, I thought we were doing fucking Record of Ragnarok, not talking shit about Demon Slayer.
I can multitask.
I do have to agree with Kyle. The animation is pretty fine all across the board, and you got so many people on the internet talking bad about it, and it really feels like we've been, like, as an anime community, we've been getting some pretty top tier shit for a while now, and it kind of feels like because of that, let's say lesser quality animation or animation that takes more shortcuts, because that is what the Adam and Zeus fight does more than anything else, is it takes shortcuts with the punches. Instead of showing the arms actually fly out there, you just see the punches coming at the characters. It doesn't look bad inherently, although some people do argue that like when Zeus is in his big form, he's just throwing out jabs. If you have not seen the fight, you're going to have to see the fight to understand what we're talking about. I'm not going to show it because I don't want Netflix to, beat my ass.
Here's the problem, is that I'm a fan of Fist of the North Star, JoJo, and Saint Seiya. This is all fine to me. I'm used to that shit. I love that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That's how I'm used to. That's how I'm used to fast punches looking.
I do think the biggest problem with the fight, or at least the okay. So first off, I guess let's start off with Thor versus Lublock. That fight's like
What's
practically
his name?
spot on. No, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. It's Lubu, right?
Yes, what did you say the first time?
Don't ask questions. So the first fight is all across the board, just like 100% accurate. They did a really good job transitioning the fight to the series. I do think their pacing could use some work though, because they have the most. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think with the anime, what they should have done, and you'll probably disagree with me on this one, Kyle. They should not have interrupted the fights with the flashbacks. They should have had the flashbacks occur before the fights and just have the actual fight occur like as its own episode. I know it's meant to stretch out the fights over multiple episodes because like every fight's like 3 to 4 episodes, right? I think it's actually straight up 4.
Yes. Yes, actually.
Well, the first episode doesn't have a fight in it, right? The first episode doesn't set up anything; it just sets up a tournament.
The first episode literally has them both come out, and it starts off with the first initial hit.
Okay, so then each episode or each fight lasts around 4 episodes, which is good on the surface. However, they do have to pad things out as a result. The first fight has some major padding with the, like Kyle mentioned earlier, the side gallery basically talking more than they should. I don't know if they added more reaction shots as a whole, but you're going to see Aphrodite
Oh no,
a lot more.
they did.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you're going to see Aphrodite and fucking...
Shiva a lot more than what you would in the manga. The reaction shots, if you haven't read it, like the reaction shots won't feel out of place. But they are there just to stretch it out. But a lot of the reactionary shots are from the manga. I think the biggest problem as well when adapting Record of Ragnarok is that I think a lot of people don't understand that it's not a fast series. Even in the manga, the pacing for some of the fights can be iffy at best. Like the fights are great, but the pacing has always been a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, I can agree with that one, absolutely. Again, I think people just had this idea in their head of what they wanted the anime to be. So when the anime came out and it wasn't exactly what they wanted, they just kind of like went off on it.
The biggest problem too is because again, I went through the manga to make sure that everything was like panel for panel, which it pretty much is. It's a very dialogue heavy series. I forgot how much it was a dialogue heavy series, and dialogue heavy series usually don't translate extremely well to anime.
I do agree with
But
that
I
one.
think they did a good job.
I think I think again I think it's mainly just comes down to the fact that we had so many people wanting something in their head, and then when they got it, they just didn't like it. They also don't. I've heard a lot of people say that the hype doesn't stick around as hard as it should. Like a lot of people are like the manga is way better when it comes to like setting up the fights and continuing them and everything.
Well, the problem is that the manga is monthly, so that's why it does that. The problem is specifically is like all the scenes hit. Like you can say this for any manga that some scenes don't hit as well. I've seen some people complain that the Adam's father speech doesn't hit as hard, but it's like, what do you expect it to be when you're not reading, when it's like at dialogue pace and not at reading pace?
I
Like you're
think
gonna have to like lower your standards in some regard.
I do completely agree with that one. I also think people don't really realize just how impactful manga panels can actually be when it comes to conveying certain things. Because when it's a still image, and this is what I was covering up is what the people were expecting. You as a manga reader fill in what's going on between the panels, so you don't need animation. You can imagine something a lot better than what most animation studios will do. So I don't think there was ever. I don't think there was ever truly a chance Record of Ragnarok was going to be a one-to-one beloved. Like everyone was gonna like it. I think there were always gonna be people who were gonna have problems with just the limitations of animation. More specifically, like transitioning material into a more realistic setup. Because dialogue, a lot of dialogue does not stick around as well or hit as hard. Then again, we were watching the English dub. Maybe the sub actually knocks it out of the park, you know.
Eh.
But and there's also a lot of moments too that don't really sink in too much because they don't pause the way a manga panel can pause for a reader. Like during the Adam versus Zeus fight, when Zeus comes back in the manga, I think it's like one or two panels where you just see his hand stopping Heimdall to like build up that he's still alive. But in the anime, it happens so fast that like the build up doesn't really hit you as hard.
That's kind of like just in general why I can't stand people comparing like anime to the manga. It's just like, yeah, you can say some scenes didn't hit well, but is it the fact that they didn't hit well, or is it the fact that the animation has to still keep moving, that they can't pause on every little bit that's supposed to be impactful in the manga?
Well, this is like sort of where like mediums come into play, and where it's like you got to remember that like animes are meant to animate, mangas obviously, but not everything in a manga is meant to be put into an anime. Like it's not written with that, it's not drawn with that mentality. So a lot of mangas don't one to one prepare with the idea of getting an anime, so they don't make things flow more fluidly in the manga, so where the anime doesn't have too much trouble. I do know some people are gonna be like, well, that's a point of adaptation. You're supposed to adapt it to make it better, but there are just certain moments that aren't gonna hit without the panel and the text bubble right next to it. Like Adam's father speech, it's good, it's fine, but because of the fact that it is rolling in real time, it doesn't really hit you as hard because you don't get to soak it in as much as you, the reader, want to. Um, Especially when like Adam's thinking about like when like his son crying for the first time, like the baby thing. In the manga, you can take that slowly and sort of like slow down your own pace
You
to
can
build that
digest
up.
every moment in the manga.
Yeah, especially at your own pace. You can just like you can be reading fast, and then you can start reading slowly as like as you want. An anime's not going to do that for you. An anime's just going to be straight up, here it is. This is how we're going. I do think the slideshows, because it's not just specifically the Poseidon. It's not specifically the Adam and Zeus one, because the Poseidon fight at the end also has the slideshow ending. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why they did those endings.
No, I rewatched it. It's animated. It's just they've got really somber music over it. I think the choice of music for the kill shot for Poseidon versus Sasaki was the wrong choice of music.
Do you think it should have been more?
I'll agree with that. It was the wrong type of music to put behind that.
It should have been a heavy metal.
That also leads into another manga panel bit that it's better to take it in. It hits more hard when you read the manga than the anime, and that's when Poseidon gets fucking quartered. That feels a lot better in the manga because, again, it's a still image and you can take that in and digest it at your pace. With the anime, it's there and he falls apart. There's no real way to. There's no real way to make that stick and not have it look goofy if you tried to take as long as it would for a manga panel.
Because he's just gonna be connected and then it's just gonna slowly fall apart and it's just gonna look weird in comparison to the speed of the rest of the fight.
Yeah, kind of like a Trunks versus fucking Cyber Fraser.
Just gonna keep cutting him over and over again until he falls apart for real this time. The fights are also. I think one complaint that I haven't seen too much of, I feel kind of exists, is that the fights actually have a stated time in the manga and anime, but I don't think the actual animated fights last that long, do they, Kyle?
Fuck no.
Why are you saying it like that, Kyle? Goku versus Frieza lasted 5 hours.
The problem with that is I can explain that shit away, and I hate that argument so much. You get out of here with that.
So the coloring for the characters is one that's a little contentious, because some characters, at least for me, because I read the manga obviously in black and white, but some character colors just look fucking weird as shit when you see them actually in their color schemes. I mentioned Loki looks weird as shit, but even Ares, who looks exactly the way I expected him, just looks weird in color.
Oh, I was fine for the color for the most part. Loki is what kind of threw me back because I wasn't expecting him to have fucking green hair.
There also are some panels that they do make happen in the anime, like Loki's Toad Face, that just don't hit us. They just don't hit the mark the way the manga does, which is a shame. But again, it is a pretty faithful, almost 1-to-1 adaptation. So props to Netflix for doing that one, or props to the studio for doing that, because they could have easily trimmed some fat, or if not trimmed some fat, they could have just added more stuff to make it cohesively better. But they stuck to their guns and made it a near 1-to-1 adaptation.
I'll say this now. For anyone who's complaining about the animation or thinks that there's still valid arguments for the animation, let me just say this right now. This could have been a 3D mess. Right. This could have been... There was so much that could have gone wrong with this. I am so happy with the product we got. This could have been 3D, and they could have changed a lot of shit.
I love how that's my biggest fear. This could have been 3D.
No, let me put it to you this way. A lot of people are having a whinge. Don't. This is a good product. This could have been so much worse. Bless your lucky stars that they decided to make it as accurate to the manga as humanly possible.
I think just because with the 3D Hermes section, you get a taste of what Record of Ragnarok could have been if they had gone 3D, and it looks so disjointed.
Not good.
Did you? Because I'm gonna be honest, I low-key cringed a little bit when I saw 3D Hermes. I was like, why are they doing this? What? Don't do this. Looks terrible. Because I think they still have him 3D even when he starts dancing with Zeus, I think, or at least at the start of it. So
No, the only time they try and merge the 2D with the 3D, from what I remember, is when Zeus points to him and he's still playing the violin.
Also, so are those real songs he was actually playing? Because I know I was always under the impression that the Slayer song was an actual unique song to Zeus specifically. I wasn't sure if that was actually like a real song or not in real life.
I think the first song he was playing is an actual song, but I think the one that he does when all the violins come out is like exclusive to the anime.
Well, that's what I was kind of expecting.
I could be wrong. But I'm not into classical music, so I couldn't tell you.
So that's what I was kind of expecting to occur, but I don't really know for certain myself. I would say overall, it is a good product. I think the animation complaints are. I mean, you can dislike the animation. No one can force you to like it, but I really don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. It does the job well. It does the job, I guess, effectively. There's no real massive choreography issues. The artwork outside of the animations is fantastic. I mean like outside of the fights, even within the fights, like when you see Zeus crush his muscles down, it's like they did a really good job with the models all across the board and everything. I just really don't understand how this gets such a mixed reception. Like, yeah, you can argue the fights didn't turn out 100% the best, even though I do think like at least 2 of the 3 fights were done as good as they were going to get. Let's not lie to ourselves here. Poseidon versus Sasaki and fucking Thor versus Yubu or Lubu was that's as good as it's gonna get. That is the best way those fights are gonna turn out. The Poseidon versus Sasaki fight was practically a 1-to-1 perfect transition, I would say. Like
it's basically like as I said, I'm actually super impressed with how accurate this was to the manga. Because again, when a lot of people like have a problem with the pacing of it, if this gets to season 2, how the hell are they going to digest Hercules versus Jack the Ripper, which is nothing but fucking dialogue?
That's gonna be that one is gonna be interesting for sure.
No, because people are gonna picture this really fast paced fight between Jack and Hercules. It's like in the manga that fight's not even that fucking. The fight's not even fast in the manga.
Yeah, but you can read it at your pace, so it seems faster by comparison. Yeah, that one's gonna get shit on, I think. I think. Hang on. You're forgetting that how much you want to bet Hercules is gonna get a 3D model for one of his attacks?
Don't say that.
Again,
hurt my soul, you are.
Overall, like I mean, like I haven't seen too many of the complaints. I've seen some of them. I haven't seen like the videos talking about because a lot of people seem to have mixed reception on it. This was at least like a solid a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 easily. I don't really. The only complaints I could have revolve on the Adam and Zeus fight, but that's really more towards the end, and also the fact that Adam should have fucking won. But you know, the actual everything else like is fine. The art's great. The fucking animation for the most part is really solid. It's an overall really well done product. I don't understand why people get are so up in arms, or not so up in arms, but I don't get why it got such a mixed reception.
I just think it's just a lot of people being too overly spoiled.
You just think it's like the quality of the other animes that come out that just like make this one look weaker by comparison. Because I actually
let's be honest. It's literally the fact that it's not all bright, bubbly, and flashy like some of the ones we've had come out as of recent.
Why don't you just want to say? I know you want to say Demon Slayer. I know that's what you wanted to fucking say.
Hey, let me put it to you this way: no one is No one likes Demon Slayer for its fucking story. Let's be perfectly honest.
Damn, someone didn't watch Mugen Train. Tears, my guy. Tears.
Motherfucker, I've got Jonathan versus fucking the Demon Boy coming up for research. I'll have to watch that movie. Now tell me, was it a good story, or did you just like how it looked?
It's a bit of both, Kyle. It's a bit of both. I'm not gonna give you exact percentages. No, like, so I will say, if you watch Mugen Train and then watch Record of Ragnarok, like, yeah, Record of Ragnarok looks like a piece of shit by comparison. Like, but that has a full movie budget behind it and a full studio's like dedication to it. Demon Slayer in general has had like a stellar animation, and I think that's. And I do think Kyle's right. I think that's kind of why this anime is getting so much shit. Because this anime looks more like JoJo's and Record of Ragnarok, or no, Record of Ragnarok, and like Fist of North Star, and those sort of like punchy animes back in the day. Which some of them would hold up today, but most of them don't. Now, they do have reimaginings, but the same thing kind of still falls the same. It still wouldn't like hold up for most audiences' standards today. JoJo's is a little more up in the air about it because JoJo's their punching scenes were a little better than Record of Ragnarok's, I would say, but I think that's more due to the fact of like just it being more colorful in general. Because like Dio versus or the World versus Star Platinum is probably the biggest like fist rush that comes to mind, and actually that has a fuck ton of pauses too and shit. Like they have a bunch of fucking pauses there and fucking just like you don't even see the full punches the entire time, do you? You just see like fucking hands flying out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know why this anime got such a lukewarm reception. It's practically 1-to-1 translation. Translation's up in the air, you know, with the divine reflection.
That's a weird way of saying eyes of the Lord.
I saw someone say that there was not an official translation, so that divine reflection might be the official attack name. But I was there thinking to myself, how did a mistranslation get so bad that we go from Eyes of the Lord to Divine Reflection? How was this not 1-to-1? Something's not adding up here.
Oh, don't worry. Well, like after we get through what our thoughts on the anime, we'll go through each of the fights and like go through what we thought. Adam versus Zeus, I have a lot to talk about. We both do, from what we found.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the animes do actually change the scaling of the character, or I'm not gonna say change the scaling. That's not correct.
More or less like concrete set them. They more or less concrete set them, or they just straight up give characters new powers.
I love the way like you were just like you were just waiting to step in there. There wouldn't be any one person that makes you cause that.
When I read the manga, I was correct. Thor walked through the arena. He didn't teleport. What are you doing teleporting?
There were some weird changes that don't really change much on their own, but there were just some really weird decisions across the board there. I think the only thing I haven't because I watched the anime, I watched it with Kyle. The only thing I haven't really seen is the backstory for Thor, I think, and that's it. Because I saw Lubu's backstory.
Good, because I forgot that it was an actual thing in the manga, and now I remember why. Because it was boring as shit in the manga, and it was boring as shit in the anime.
Is his backstory just like fighting the giants or something?
It is, but it's so boring with how they portray it. Like both the manga and the anime. Oh, it was so painful and boring.
Kyle, it must have been the animation.
Dude, this could have had the most stellar animation behind it. It still wouldn't have fucking helped.
Yeah, I know, but overall, what would you actually rate the anime? Because I say 7 or 8 out of 10. I don't think it was bad by any stretch.
I put it at a solid 8.
Definitely some improvements to work. Actually, I'd say some improvements to work on, but I don't really think they're going to need to, because I think the biggest problems occurred in the fights that were super high intense, and those fights aren't happening anymore.
The only thing that I could say is If they can avoid it, no 3D models. But again, that's more of a nitpick than an actual criticism.
You're gonna have Shiva
But
dancing in 3D.
fuck! Don't say that. Oh god. Oh god, I can see it.
I was gonna say you can picture it in your head as he dodges.
Oh god. Oh no. But in all seriousness, maybe don't do the fucking JPEG shit with with like Microsoft Power. With Microsoft Power, don't do that.
That's been like the biggest comparison I've seen people bring up. Is they're like, "Oh, dude, I'm really glad Microsoft PowerPoint got updated this year."
If they could just like not do that again, that'd be fine. But overall, those are just two things. If I could say anything else, audience members, fucking don't be, don't act so spoiled. Again, actually read the manga and like understand that some shit is not going to transfer as well as you hope.
I'm gonna be honest.
I've reread like several parts of the Jack fight already, and I'm just like, this is not going to This is not going to go really well. If people have pacing issues now, fuck, this is going to feel very snail's pace to a lot of people.
I don't think. I think animation-wise, at least, I don't think we're gonna have any more complaints animation-wise because the most taxing animation fights, or the ones that would, in theory, be the most taxing, like Zeus vs. Adam, those are gone now. Even the fight between with the sumo wrestler, I can't remember his name for the life of me, and Shiva.
Raiden.
What?
Raiden.
It's Raiden?
Yes. Raiden Tigimon.
Okay, boomer. Even that fight doesn't really.
Don't hate me because I'm cultured.
Cultures, no, whatever. Now's not the time. Even that fight in particular doesn't really go as fast or bring up the actual same amount of fucking like speed that like the Poseidon fights and the Zeus fights brought up. So I don't think next season we're going to be having animation complaints or troubles because a lot of the more taxing fights are gone by this point. They would have to genuinely fall flat on their ass in order to fail with this next season coming up, I think, because the fights are kind of like, they're pretty generous in their regard.
They're also vastly slower.
That is true. So maybe we'll need so many fucking actual audience quips, which is actually kind of annoying because I kind of would hope they would have expanded on that Jack the Ripper and that prostitute's relationship, but whatever. Fuck me. I guess Thor's the one who gets more fucking conference dialogue. Don't.
So, initially, if season 2 is going to follow the same vein as season 1, we will be getting Jack vs. Hercules, Shiva vs. Raiden, and Buddha vs. Zero.
What are you gonna do if they give us a filler fight? Wait, actually.
What do you mean a filler fight?
No. Hang on a minute. I think you're forgetting that the confrontations between the mans and the gods, I think it's during the, is it during the Jack fight or is it during the Shiva fight?
It's after the Jack fight.
It's after the Jack fight? How much you want to bet it's going to be its own episode?
Bullshit.
How much you want to bet it's going to be like 2 episodes? I guarantee you they're going to extend
Nah,
that
get
shit.
fucked. They're not going to do that.
It's going to be 2 fights next season because there's going to be so much side content. We're not even going to see Buddha fight. We're going to see everything right before Zero shows up.
Nah, man.
You can see it already. You know I'm right.
Nah, man.
I do think it's because here's the problem. Like, the animation was fine. It really was. I don't know what they were expecting in this sort of like anime. If this one didn't fail, or if this one failed, I'm hoping the next season will get a better reception. But the fights weren't that bad this time around. It was really just like the endings kind of fell off a little bit, but that wasn't too bad.
Exactly.
So I'm just curious to see how it's gonna go. Well, I'm assuming season 2 is confirmed, because of how they end.
Well, I assume so because they literally go up to just before Jack and Hercules fight. So surely they've been given the green light. It just hasn't been announced. Because I can't see them teasing that hard and not giving us something.
Okay, so it still has not been renewed for a second season. Even if a second season is to occur, being 100% unbiased and honest here, they're better off waiting for like a year or two because there are a lot of fights that haven't happened yet, and they do 3 fights a season. They do one more season, and they're literally caught up with the manga. Like
Yeah.
that's how quickly. Well, not quickly. That's how slow the actual record of Ragnarok is. It's a monthly release or bi-monthly release.
Monthly.
Yeah, it's monthly. So
You know, season 3 starts off with Nikola Tesla versus Susanoo.
go fuck yourself.
In all honesty, I keep bringing this up just to shit him, but the fight I'm really looking forward to is Simo versus Apollo.
If season 2 does end up happening and becomes successful, I think we might see like a Boruto thing happen where the anime is going to finish the series before the manga gets there. And if that's the case, I'm a little curious if if the actual writer would stop doing the manga or if something would change as a response to that. Because again, like the anime in 2 seasons is gonna be caught up completely, so they have to pace this out. Otherwise, it's just not gonna make it very far. But yeah, no. Overall, that's it for the review. For those of you who are wondering, what about the manga fights in question? Since I think we still have to do Jack versus Hercules, I think we're unironically on that one right now, or did we already get past that?
No, we're on to that one.
Maybe we'll get to it before Netflix gets to it. No.
Are you trying to convince me, or are you trying to convince you?
I can do it tomorrow. Now that I can do it tomorrow because like the website I use to read manga has Record of Ragnarok now, so I can read it like in real time tomorrow while we're talking about it. I can do that now. I have power now.
Just give you the bloody thing.
Kyle, this is still being recorded. No. Yeah, no. So at any rate, we will be we will do separate reviews later on for what the fight specifically change, what the dialogue changes mean, and what the new statements would include. Either individually in the fights, just to milk it out, or in one big video, just talking about it in general. We'll see how that one goes. I think we'll do it individually because we're going to have to be comparing them to the manga panels specifically. So, like, we'll probably have, like, screenshots of the anime statements or something, and then we'll, like, compare the manga statements or what... Well, actually, hang on. Viz is actually doing an official translation for Record of Ragnarok, right?
Yes.
You want to wait for Viz to do the official translations before we do that to see if, like, the official ones, like, change anything? Or do you just want to stick with what we've got so far?
I mean, unless Viz comes out and changes something so drastically that we'd have to go back and recorrect shit, I don't see.
Eyes of the Lord becomes divine reflection. Just, just saying.
Listen, you little shit.
Hey, I'm not wrong. Wait, actually, what was Sasaki's ability called? Because wasn't he called like Ultimate Scan or something in the
manga? So in the manga, it's called the 1,000 Image Defense.
And what's it called in the anime?
Some Japanese name.
All right. Well, you heard it here first from the expert. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for your time as always. Have a nice day. Those were more or less our like general thoughts on Record of Ragnarok's anime adaptation. Can you actually buy the anime anywhere else, or is it just strictly on Netflix?
Um,
I said buy.
I don't know.
All
I
right.
don't know. I, I suppose if you wanted to be an upstanding citizen, you could buy it.
Well, no, I'm just asking, like, could I buy, like, the season on, like, Amazon or something?
I
Because,
don't
like,
know.
Netflix exclusives are kind of annoying about this shit, where they will only stay on Netflix, which I don't think works out the way they think it does with most people who only subscribe for one thing, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so those are more or less our thoughts on Record of Ragnarok's anime. Overall, it's fine. The community definitely seems to have taken to it a little harsher than I think I think anyone was expecting. But yeah, no, that's about it. So thank you guys for your time as always. Have a nice day, and I'll see you guys on the next stream or video.